male-centered is like the point just going right over your fucking head. Because he's supposed to be male-centered. That's the whole entire point. Y'all don't remember when he was doing Chad Vice? The alt-right pipeline has specifically targeted young dudes to radicalize, and we don't have hardly any male-centered leftists that young men can look up to and be like, hey, he's kind of cool, actually.
Let's go.
And I get that he's fucking hot, okay? Believe me, I fucking get it. We want him to cater to us, too. But we need that. We need
Let's go.
that.
She gets it. She gets it. I like that he's male-centered and he has room to grow as a man viewing outside himself. Since Fun Day Common, Bill Maher. What? Oh, Bill Maher. Wait. Neil deGrasse Tyson criticizes Elon's plan to go Mars. Can Elon Musk realistically send humans to Mars? I have strong views on that. Okay, we'll look at Bill Maher. It's not fun, though. Bill Maher is not fun, okay? I thought you meant Bill Burr, and I got excited because I thought you meant Bill Burr, but you meant Bill Maher instead, and that is not fun. All right, speaking of actual fun, we're going to do Bad Empanada, who is now turning into Good Empanada, okay? Who did a video specifically on a classic Keemstar Orbiter slop YouTuber by the name of WillyMacShow and addresses some of his criticisms of me. And I think I assume, considering Bad Empanada is very knowledgeable on Israel-Palestine and WillyMacShow is not very knowledgeable, I would like to see WillyMac viewers reminding him about the D video he said he was making a while ago. Some odd reason he stopped making it. They're a bit upset. Yeah, I mean, he's now, yeah, WillyMacSlow is now totally a fucking major Destiny orbiter. He, I mean, dude, I get it. I get it. Why the fuck wouldn't you be? He literally goes and trolls that subreddit. He just peruses Destiny's subreddit to fucking get like an easy 1 million viewed drama slop video. Like, why the fuck wouldn't he be excited at that prospect? That probably makes him like 10 grand. You know what I mean? That's easy money. It's easy money to just fucking not know a single damn thing about Israel-Palestine and just be like and make like a Hasan Bad video. You know?
We're going to have a new segment on the stream, which might never happen again, but I'm calling it a new segment. It's going to be called Slop Watch, where whenever a slop YouTuber steps out of their lane and talks about something serious, we fact check them. So we're going to fact check a slop YouTuber who usually talks about like mind. The direction of his content is put someone with lots of followers in the title. There is not a single video on his channel that is not about another YouTuber. And by far the videos that get the most views are the ones about Hasan, so that's why he's making them. So let's check it out. Let's see what he's got to say and let's fact check him for as long as we reasonably can until it becomes so grating that we would prefer not to live anymore. Let's check it out.
Last year, I started documenting Hasan for his blatantly false reporting.
Why do you talk like that? Why do you talk like that? What is this voice, for one? This is not a real person's voice. I thought my video voice was bad. What's this?
Insane meat munching. He made like 20 videos on you. I know. Can you explain what a grifter is and how you're not one? A grifter is a person that doesn't have any sort of like firmly held convictions or any sort of interest in the subject matter that they're covering. And they're basically simply covering it because the algorithm boosts that sort of commentary. Like, for example, if someone has no interest whatsoever in the ongoing genocide that Israel is engaging in Gaza, right? And the only videos that they've ever actually, the only time they've ever actually afforded their platform to talking about this issue is to specifically farm drama off of a polarizing content creator such as myself to just basically say my reporting on it is bad. And you know, the fact that they have no like real experience in this field whatsoever, and they're simply just like aggregating clip chimps off of, you know, a particular subreddit, that would be a perfect demonstration of someone who is a grifter. The reason why I always laugh at the Hasan, you're a grifter allegations is because I have been endlessly consistent on my commentary, on my convictions that I firmly hold on to. And also the fact that not only can not only do my takes stand the test of time fairly well, with some minor exceptions that people seem to make a very big deal about, but that's fine. Grifting to the left is the most idiotic thing that you could possibly do. If I had no real convictions, if I had no real, genuine, personally held political opinions, why the fuck would I grift to the left? It's the most annoying group of people on the fucking planet. Okay, do you know how many people who also consider themselves to be diehard leftists who fucking hate me? Are you kidding me? It is the most annoying group of people on the planet. Okay, I'm sorry, it's just the truth. There's nothing the left hates more than someone who has an opinion that is a little bit marginally different than theirs. Okay? There is no big ticket donors on the left. Everything on the left has to be grassroots funded by you guys. Obviously, you guys fund this entire broadcast by subscribing, and many of you do, and I'm endlessly grateful for that sort of thing. But the reality of the matter is, there's a reason why. I mean, Bad and Empanada is a great example of this. Bad Empanada fucking shits on me all the time. You know? And it is what it is, but the left is the stupidest fucking group of people to grift to because they are annoying and it's impossible to get any sort of solidarity amongst the left. Okay? People will say, you're not far left enough. Some people will say, you're too far left. No such distinctions are usually made on the right. Okay? There is very little right-wing infighting. And when it happens, they pack that shit up quickly. The two most prominent examples of right-wing infighting that have occurred over the course of the past couple of years was when Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder duked it out a little bit for a second. Okay? But it didn't change the dynamic of the audience that much. Steven Crowder cried about the $50 million contract he got from Daily Wire, and he said it was slave labor, which was hilarious. And then the second most prominent example was when Candace Owens was anti-Israel under the Daily Wire wing, while also being anti-Semitic, of course. And Ben Shapiro was like, anti-Semitism is fine, but anti-Israel I can't stand. That kind of feuding is a daily occurrence on the left. People have an incredible amount of purity that like standards that they themselves do not abide by, that they try to subject others to. So it's a fucking idiotic thing to do. You think I'm a stupid person? Why does D-Grift to the left seems to be working out well for his bank account law? I think that he just is a debate mercenary. He doesn't give a shit. He just wants to be contentious, and he knows that as long as he maintains a liberal posture and backs like the institutional liberalism, he will always be able to maintain some level of an audience. He is not a leftist, though. I don't think Destiny has never really been a leftist. There was like a brief moment where I thought he might be, but he was not. He's just a very annoying liberal who says incredibly reactionary and edgy shit on a regular basis and will defend it. He's perma stuck on whatever the liberal status quo is, and he'll always defend it. And I think part of the reason why is because if you're going to base your worldview off of like empirical evidence, there's a whole bit of information that's readily available on the liberal side, right? Like, it's great. You can just like go to Wikipedia and just churn out, misunderstand what the fuck Wikipedia pages are telling you, and make it seem as though you're, infinitely more knowledgeable on the subject matter than the idiotic right-wingers that you're duking it out with. Because right-wingers not great at debating, and they're not great at understanding reality in general. So I think it's like a very easy way to present yourself as a intellectual giant, an intellectual titan. But overall, he does present a unique part of this space. I will admit that, where he has the energy and the toxicity of a 4chan poll weirdo, like online forums. These people that frequent online forums and like engage in these cynical smear campaigns and stuff like that. But normally those people used to be like Nazis, right? And obviously, Destiny himself doesn't care about someone being a neo-Nazi. Like, he'll hang out with them. He'll try to have sex with them. Like Lauren Southern, I think he did have sex with her, as far as I understand, according to his ex-wife. And he'll prop their channels up. He'll actually give, Nick Fuentes his phone number to like a bunch of podcasters, so Nick Fuentes can go on the podcast circuit. Like, he'll offer a lifeline to neo-Nazis. He'll collaborate with the likes of Sam Hyde, right? Because he just doesn't have any sort of real ideology. And he'll always be like, oh, I'm just debating them. And his audience, and I think he just like picks up a lot of those audience members who are interested in the blood sport of it all. And maybe it makes him seem like he's de-radicalizing people from their former neo-Nazi ways. But the reality is he's just, keeping that same exact energy, but specifically turning them towards being prominent members of his own personal cult that will still go after very similar targets that the neo-Nazis went after, right? Disney doesn't defend capitalism? Yes, he does. What? So that's neither here nor there, though. Yeah, he's just a guy who's super edgy and a neoliberal, and I think that if the hegemonic attitude towards capitalism swung in the opposite direction somehow overnight magically, which would never happen, of course, he would just be defending that. Anyway, let's continue. I was right about Ukraine. That's right. War is not imminent. Oh, shock. An Israeli airstrike hit the Al Ahli hospital. You were so right. They added 7,000.
Like, he just puts that in. This is not something that these people like to do. Like, they don't actually have to provide proof or evidence for their claims. They just like point at someone else saying something and insist that it's wrong without being able to explain why. People who consider themselves political commentators do that. So obviously a slop YouTuber is going to do it way more.
New troops. So what's going to end up happening is that by April, this is going to be done.
Gifted and bombed the hospital. Change title.
That's crazy. This is my first time actually encountering the WillyMacShow video now by way of Bad Empanada watching it. And that's amazing that this is what stands for fantastic political commentary that disparages like the 8 to 10 hours that I pour into talking about this subject matter. That is wild. This is the first time I've actually seen a clip of this fucking person's YouTube slop. That's incredible. Like, you apologize and he didn't even include it. I mean, the notion that this will be done by April is you quoting Elon Musk. I'm pretty sure Lamau. Yeah, I don't even know what that's about, but it is pretty funny that like I straight up sent a bunch of citations for Marx himself on Marx's econ actually involves against the weird pseudo-left debater ideals, and he straight up said to me he didn't care because it's not what people debating him say. He doesn't care about truth so much. What? I don't even know what you're talking about. Hasan never cites his sources. Hasan is out of his depth. Hasan never cites his sources. Hasan only goes on Twitter. These are some of the most common like things that you hear from people, and I think it's because like people want to seem smart. People want to feel smart. I get it. I understand that. I understand that interest. And so this makes people feel like if I've rubbed them the wrong way, or if they've seen a bunch of like negative clips about me, videos like this will give people enough like evidence in their minds who are not really paying attention to anything that's going on, that it gives them ample evidence to be like, yeah, he does suck. I actually did feel that way. about him, and now I know exactly why. Yeah. This guy's just farming, no? Like, if anyone puts any time into you, it's pretty obvious you argue from a good POV and that you're not just arguing out of personal interest and opinion, but actual facts. Yes. I don't think this person has any care or consideration about politics or like a well-defined worldview anyway. I think they're just purely in it for the algo.
IDF didn't bomb the hospital? Yes, it did!
Does this guy provide any evidence that it didn't bomb the hospital? No, he doesn't. He just insisted it didn't. And because Hasan said that it did, it must be wrong.
Yes, it did!
I criticized him for being a propagandist, coming to conclusions on breaking news when the story hadn't even been fully reported.
One of the funniest parts about our conversation when this fucking dildo came on the stream was when he didn't even know that, like, my reasoning originally for why Israel bombed Al Ahly was because, one, Israel had bombed the Al Ahly hospital 2 days prior. 2, Israel had bombed a whole bunch of places, including other hospitals that they've forcibly evacuated at that point. And 3, BBC and every other fucking Western outlet had also obviously arrived at that same conclusion early on in the morning. Why else? Why would they not arrive at that conclusion? It makes no fucking sense to be like, oh, this must have been a rocket misfire. And last but not least, of course, once again, in the Al Ahly situation, which they never talk about anymore, by the way, they only bring up Al Ahly if you're a fucking dumbass who doesn't know anything about what has happened so far. And there's plenty of people who don't pay attention. So I think that's the reason why they, watch videos like this. Okay. I do find it very funny that these guys will be like, the only time they ever talk about it is like, remember the last time Hasan said Israel bombed Al Ahly, which, forensic architecture had already debunked time and time again Israel's counter narratives about what was going on. Like what Israel claimed had actually happened, which the media took and immediately ran with. Israel has blown up every fucking hospital since then. Every single one. And not a single peep from these fucking dipshits to be like, oh, I'm sorry that I said Israel never bombed the Al Ahly hospital or that they would never bomb any hospitals. They bombed every university and every fucking hospital since then. It's so stupid.
You right now is the same thing.
You are somehow coming to incorrect conclusions about something literally a year later. So you don't even have that excuse.
You always do. I'm just saying,
no,
like this, you're doing it in real time.
The other part about this story that's like really interesting, the dynamic that is really interesting about like a drama slop farmer like WillyMacShow is that the subject matter is me, right? I'm the subject matter of his video. He didn't even have the fucking talking points that he supposedly had like real serious convictions over. He had to go back and watch his YouTube video to debate me on it. And if I'm the subject matter of the video, like my statements on like what I actually meant should be valid, right? But no, of course not. There is no reason to hear what I have to say because there is no real interest in understanding the truth.
You're doing it in real time, bro.
Over the course of an 8-hour broadcast, if you look to literally 3 moments,
how come nobody else shut up as much as you, dude, that does 8-hour broadcasts?
Because no one has the most psychopathic fandom like idiots like you who sit through every minutia.
Isn't it great? Like, you're just supposed to like look at this and assume that he's right or something. He doesn't actually need to make any arguments. Doesn't need to provide any proof of his claims. You just look at this and it's like, well, does he actually do that at some point? Let's find out. It's like, look at all these things that I'm insisting is sort of self-evidently bad. Because I don't actually know why they're bad. I just sort of have a gut feeling that they're bad. So let me show them to you. Like you saw in the previous segment where I responded to like a clip of Ethan Klein Zionist compilation. Rather than just showing you the clip and insisting, oh, this is wrong. I told you why it's wrong. This guy shows you a clip and you're just supposed to listen to it. And I guess it's wrong just because he's pointing at it, I guess.
To find a clippable moment, to be like, he sucks, he's bad. That's the reason, dickhead. All right.
He followed this up by interviewing a terrorist eating up propaganda about taking hostages.
You think terrorists, right? You can just brand someone as a terrorist if you're this fucking white guy who sounds like he's struggling to speak. You're this guy here. You can just say that someone is a terrorist, providing zero evidence for it. Why?
Probably the best example of a grifter I can imagine. He has no passion for the conflict. He thinks he's debunking you on. Doesn't even have the talking points readily available. Yeah, I wanted to talk to him about Israel-Palestine, but he was like, no, I want you to simply watch my video. I was like, why the fuck would I do that, bro? I'm the person you're talking about. Just tell me what your anger and your frustration is, and we can go over it. Which he had to literally go back and which you had to wait. What is this? Relevant?
Hold on. Can you pause for a
like,
second?
that's such
I'm sorry to do it. This guy right here in the top left, the one that they're all
Oh, there he is. He's like hanging out with Destiny and Dan Saltman.
having a great time with. This guy's a killer.
Well, no,
you don't know if he killed anybody.
He probably has
What
never.
do you mean? He boards fucking boats?
Yeah, but after they're already taken over, he's not part of like the
Oh,
takeover
I'm sorry.
team.
He's not cool
He's
enough.
hanging out with the hostages, but we don't know
I'm
if he
sorry.
He
killed
also wasn't hanging out with the hostages. That was a moment that was like lost in translation, but like he wasn't hanging out with the hostages at all. And the people were using a clip that was from a totally separate video to be like, oh, look at this clip. Like, here he is hanging out with the hostages. No, he didn't board the boats either. No, he didn't fucking board the boats either. He went on Galaxy, the boat that had already been, that had become a tourism destination in Sana'a. You're wrong. All of this stuff is wrong. Why do people not care about being wrong so frequently? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, yes, the Ansar Allah militants took over a bunch of boats, including the Galaxy one, okay? They boarded the boat. They put the boat in the port in Sana'a. And then they turned it into a tourism destination. So people could just simply pay, I think like $1 or something to go and see the boat, Galaxy Leader. That's it. And Timothy Chalamet, Rashid, okay? You are the biggest liar I've ever seen. It's written all over your face. You are bullshitting. Okay, man.
My bad.
I'm
my
trying
bad.
to be accurate, Dan.
Yeah.
You're
Sorry,
like-
my fault.
You're trying to fight
No one dies.
disinformation with disinformation.
No one dies on these things.
No, there's no
nobody's
videos
saying
of him
that.
in like active
Yeah,
combat. It's just him like
nobody's-
touring and shit after it.
أنا الشعب الصيني أنا ما قد جلست معهم ولا بس الصدق يعني قبطان السفينة كان صيني وعجب على الجو.
And like he's saying he hasn't spent much time with Chinese people, but one of the captain was Chinese, and he did qat with them, and he danced.
Like, this either is a mistranslation because the captain wasn't even Chinese, or he's just fucking flexing. Okay?
Some music with them, and he was vibing. So he
Like, I think he saw a fucking clip of another earlier. It is a mistranslation. He either saw a fucking clip. He's not flexing. He's joking. Oh, okay. I don't know. But he saw an older TikTok. Why is this video relevant at all? You're lying, Hasan. I can read your mind. It's a mistranslation. Qatari Cat, what is he saying there? You also have to remember, like, I can't fucking understand what he's saying. He can't understand what I'm saying. That's why I had Fuad be the translator in this situation. But Willie does nothing. Willie does anything to not confront genocide and heaves his lack of care onto you and everyone else. Is like deliberate placing of oneself to be negatively polarized. Like, who asked these motherfuckers to be political? I fucking hate it. Anyway, but yeah, if you want the actual facts, if you want to know what is the reality, I asked him in the interview if he was a Houthi militant. I still maintain the position that I have every right to fucking interview a Houthi militant or someone who is like a prominent member of the Ansar Allah administration. I think there's journalistic value to doing such a thing. When I thought that he might be a Houthi militant personally, because we saw all the clips and everyone was calling him like jokingly Timothy Chalamet, I was of course very excited to do this. Okay. But the interview, in my perspective, at least, once he said he was not, of course, changed, like the dynamic of the interview changed. And every single real news outlet, no matter how fucking right-wing they are, have openly stated that they know that this person is not a militant anyway. Most people would be given props for bagging an interview like this. I know. The New York Times reached out to me to try and get their contact information. Okay? Yes. Other journalists like Jeremy Scahill, Ryan Grimm, and many others were like, that was a fantastic interview. I'm glad that, you know, someone is out there capable of being able to reach out to these people and actually even fucking humanize them. Because why wouldn't I? Anyway, let's continue.
Why is he a terrorist? He's an Arab in Yemen. Why else would he be a terrorist, right? Someone who, by the way, like, what terrorist attack has he committed? What terrorist attack has he committed? I can point to a terrorist attack that Hillary Klein has participated in. What terrorist attack did this guy participate in? Could you point to that for us? Which one? What did he do? I'd like to offer, I believe his name is Rashid Al-Khalidi. We will crowdfund a GoFundMe so you can sue whichever one of these people you choose. This guy could be the easy target. There's precedent for this working because, for example, Sacha Baron Cohen's video Bruno, he framed a random Palestinian grocer as like a terrorist, and he ended up having to pay that guy hundreds of millions of dollars in a defamation case, or at least tens of millions. Rashid, my friend from Yemen, you have a chance at a huge payout here, and we will gladly crowdfund you. Pick like the most egregious of them, calling you a terrorist.
I speak Arabic. Rashid didn't say any of that. Your translator speaking another dialect, Levantine, opposed to Rashid's Yemeni dialect. He never said he took caught with the captain or the crew. I don't know what he said. I still don't, to this day, know what he fucking said. But what I do know is I have no reason not to trust him when he says he's not a fucking Houthi, okay? He lives in Yemen. He has every reason to even lie and say he is Houthi in an effort to not get fucking punished by seemingly coming across as he's disparaging the Ansar Allah movement. You know what I mean? What's crazy about it is that he literally has been apprehended by the authorities in Yemen before, like, according to his own Twitter account. So it's like fucking ridiculous that people are just like, why would he lie? Why would he fucking lie? He has no reason to lie. He lives in Yemen, brother. He can just fucking be like, yeah, I hate Jewish people and I'm Ansar Allah and we're doing this for anti-Semitism. If that was his genuine perspective, he could just say that, okay? What are you going to do? Cancel him? He's in fucking Yemen. He could be killed tomorrow by an American bomb. Like, that's the point that I don't understand, that people are just like, you should have been debating him. You should have been debate lording him. And it's like, why would I do that? There's a person who is 18 years old at this point and has only known genocide his entire life, okay? Saudi and UAE-backed, America-backed genocide. That's all he's known. Americans are in Yemen. No, American bombs directly fucking blow up parts of Yemen, though. They fly over it and, you know, lob rockets into even Sana'a and the ports and every other part of it.
And let's get them in court trying to justify that label. I'd love to see that. That would be fantastic.
Propaganda about taking hostages.
He's saying he hasn't spent much time with Chinese people, but one of the captain was Chinese, and he did qat with them, and he danced to music with them, and he was vibing. So he.
This is funny, by the way, because not one of the captains in any of the ships that the Houthis seized in that anti-genocide blockade, by the way, literally a blockade against Western shipping, that to put pressure on Western countries and Israel to stop doing genocide. That's what that is. Nonetheless, there was literally no Chinese captain, obviously. How did he talk to a Chinese captain when there is no Chinese captain? What he did is he saw an unrelated video, a TikTok from before this was even happening, of like a ship captain who had docked in Yemen, like doing drugs with Yemenis. A Bulgarian at that, not even a fucking Chinese, because there's no Chinese captains in Yemen. There's no Chinese captains involved in this at all. So he's talking about a TikTok video that he watched, and these guys say like, okay, that's like dispositive evidence that he's a terrorist. Also, even if he had talked to a captain, how would that make him a terrorist? Is terrorism when you speak to someone who was like a crew member of a ship that was seized in an anti-genocide blockade? Just speaking to them makes you a terrorist? Is that how this works? I would love to get this guy on stream to explain to us his logic and also to get him to present to us his evidence.
He likes him, yeah.
So, I mean, what? That's so crazy.
He's saying that they went over the crews on these.
Is the entire video just like him rehashing a video that he already made, where you're supposed to look at the clips and just assume that he's correct? That whatever he's implying...
Yes, the answer is yes, by the way. For most people, it's like, it's perfectly packaged drama slop. it takes 1 second to lie about a person, especially when there is an overwhelming amount, amount of social conditioning geared in one way. And it takes an hour to fucking break down exactly why this is wrong, while still taking into account the broader audience's personal hangups on the matter. Okay? You could just say, brown kid has a gun, terrorist. I have to now describe how terrorism is a political designation that is ultimately utterly meaningless. It has no legal basis, and that the likes of Nelson Mandela were on the terror watch list until 2008, when I conducted this interview with a person who wasn't even a part of the Ansar Allah movement. But even if he was, it still would have been perfectly valid. The Ansar Allah movement had not even been declared a terror organization, or rather the terrorism organization designation was going to take 30 fucking days by the State Department to actually be implemented. Joe Biden had taken off the Ansar Allah movement from the terrorism designation in the State Department earlier. Okay? How am I going to describe this to people who are just like, nah, I see brown guy, has a gun, he's terrorist, he wants to kill white people, he probably has killed white people. You know? It's like when my boomer dad shows me a 15-second Instagram vid that's supposed to completely change my political perspective. It's all on how you package it that gets people riled up. Is insane. Yeah. And then besides that, Yemen, which is one of the poorest countries on the fucking planet, has literally the highest rate of gun ownership per capita after the United States of America, which is ironic because, you know, you don't really immediately assume when someone is a gun owner, they're a fucking white supremacist terrorist, for example. You know?
About this is right, even though we provide zero evidence for you to believe that. Like, the reason why this guy is being called a terrorist by this guy is because he's Arab. That's literally, his criteria to be a terrorist is to be Arab. He could not explain to you what terrorist attack he's engaged in. He couldn't even explain to you what terrorism the Houthis have supposedly engaged in. He could just point to like the anti-genocide blockade, and then if he had to deal with a counter-argument on that, he would flop in 2 minutes because he doesn't fucking know what he's talking about. Honestly, these people are embarrassing. Like, who watches this and is just like, yep, you know, he's clearly owning this guy here by just showing a video without being able to refute a thing.
And they like win them over with their charm, and they make them hate America and the U.S. government.
That's so funny. Okay, that doesn't probably take much.
Yeah, hilarious. The crew is still held captive, and Hasan continues to...
Yeah, hilarious. I mean, it is. I think it is hilarious. Yeah. I stand by that for sure. Yeah. First of all, this dude, Rashid, there's no evidence that he actually linked up with any fucking captain whatsoever, especially considering that he's saying the captain is Chinese. There is no Chinese captain. What we found out was that there's an older video that he probably saw that he was talking about where I don't even know if it's from Yemen or not, where they're like, you know, a bunch of captain, I think a Bulgarian captain's like chewing cot or something. Having said that, this part, yeah, I mean, he just laughs at it and goes, oh, that's pretty funny. It is. Like, why is anybody supposed to go, no, I hate that. I can't believe he's laughing about that. Like, what? Yeah, I think this was the OG video. Yeah, it was this video. Yeah. It's from fucking literally March 27th, 2022. This is the video that they're showing, by the way. They're saying this is the Chinese captain. But I don't know. I don't know if he was Bulgarian or not. I think the anyway. I don't know if that guy is Bulgarian or not. I think he might be. A majority of the internet believes Hasan is an Arab because he's Muslim and his name is Hasan. Like 2 out of 3 Americans in general could not tell you where Turkey is on a map and just assume it's an Arab country because it sounds Arab to them. Yeah. The Galaxy Leader captain is Bulgarian. He's not Chinese. Sorry. Thank you. He didn't say any. He didn't see any Chinese person. He literally said that. The translator added the caught part.
Which crew? Where's the Chinese captain here? Where's the Chinese
Hasan
captain
continues.
here? Could you point to the Chinese captain for us? Because there is no Chinese captain. Like, we are supposed to believe that stopping ships that are trying to run a blockade to put pressure on countries supporting a genocide, no less, that is terrorism. That is bad. He doesn't need to explain to us why it's bad. He can just point at it because he and his audience are of the same intelligence level. So
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like when America does blockades, that's good and based, like in Cuba, even though the entire world is against it, right? When a nation state that was in the throes of genocide until like literally a couple years prior, okay, says what Israel is doing in Gaza is a genocide, we have to stop it, and we are going to implement a blockade in the Red Sea in an effort to get Israel to apply further pressure to Israel to stop is genocide of Palestinians in Gaza. That's bad. You can't do that. You should be blown up. Which, by the way, was a demonstrable fucking failure for America. Operation Prosperity Guardian cost billions of dollars, and it didn't actually do shit. It didn't even stop anything. One of the Israeli ports is now completely bankrupt as a direct consequence of this blockade. So yeah, these are guys actually doing something. Okay? These are the people who are literally doing something. What are you doing? Nothing. You're making drama slop videos. Like, what do you guys think America does when they fucking intercept ships? Most of the time, America says we're instituting a blockade and no ships pass. But when some ships do pass, what do you think they do? They fucking intercept the ships. That's exactly what America does as well. They've literally stolen direct oil tankers going between Venezuela and Iran and shit. Like, what are we talking about? The fuck? Like, what? So that's fine, that's valid. But when another country, God forbid, outside of the sphere of influence of America engages in the same thing, then whoa, that's the biggest meanie bobini thing you could fucking do. That is completely unacceptable. You know, your Twitch stream doesn't change nothing until you go on mainstream TV like CNN and MSNBC. What are you saying, dude? You're like, just quit, just quit, just quit. What the fuck? Shut up. It does change things. It changes people's minds, okay? Yeah, U.S. embargo blocks coronavirus aid shipment from Asia. Like, we've done such cruel, unimaginably cruel things to Cuba. And you also have to remember, the mildest Google research would show Yemen has been trading the crews from the ships for their own people being held by the Saudis. Yeah, also, you have to look to like what the reason is. The reason for why we have an embargo on Cuba is because our fascist dictatorship that we backed and offered material support to and offered arms to, Batista's dictatorship, was forcibly overthrown in a revolution in Cuba. Okay? And we never let that go. We were very mad that our sugar plantations were taken away. We were mad that like our mob's tourism destination was taken away. We were mad at the Cuban Revolution. So we punished Cuba and the Cuban population permanently since that very moment. And we've never stopped. Whereas what these guys are doing a good thing. Okay? That's it. Like their purpose, even if you don't agree with their methods, okay, you very clearly don't think much about the ways in which America does this for bad reasons, okay? But like overall, the goal there is to stop ships from going through the Red Sea. That's it. To just cut it out entirely. There's some level of deterrence that takes place in that process, and that's precisely the reason why America blew up fucking ports and different parts of Yemen in Operation Prosperity Guardian to bring the Ansar Allah administration to heel, to get them to stop intercepting ships, which they never did. So they just basically decided, you know, fuck it. I guess we failed on this. But the goal there was, you know, very clearly to stop all of these ships from moving through the Red Sea and instead to take the route of the Horn of Africa. Okay? That was it. It's not to, like, you know, engage in piracy and steal all the goodies from all these fucking ships, or it's not because, like, they are horny to take hostages or whatever.
It works on them.
And Hasan continues to glorify terrorism by playing their propaganda and passing it off.
These are terrorists and this is their propaganda. These are terrorists and this is that. He doesn't even need to prove his initial claims. He just needs to point. Point. It's true because I said so. Don't expect me to actually make any arguments.
His happy musicals.
Even a music video.
They love walking over, like, the American flag and the Israeli flag side by side. They will always, like, march on it.
When you said music video, I'm expecting, like...
You zoomed in on that? Stepping on the American flag and Israeli flag is just sort of self-evidently bad, I guess. You know, these genocidal imperialist nations.
Bad example, Chris Brown dancing, you know.
No. They do, like, they do musicals. They're very musical people.
Praising their leaders, all while hypocritically defending Russia and China's invasion of their neighbors.
You call Crimea? I call it a part of Russian territory, bitch. That's what I call Crimea. I call it Crimea River. Bite the bullet on the Tim Houthi kid? Why? Why would I ever? If I did something that was fucked up.
Bite the bullet? What? Like, he doesn't even make his argument. He does not make any sort of argument.
Crimea is a part of Russian territory. It's just true. It is annexed by Russia. And what Ukraine did in that process after it was annexed by Russia, which is very different than Russia's current invasion of Ukraine, which is why it's been an ongoing, massive, inhumane military campaign that is killing thousands of fucking people and has displaced millions of people. Okay? To make this comparison between Crimea and what Russia is doing in Ukraine right now is idiotic. And no one would take you fucking seriously if you were to make that comparison. Okay? What Ukraine did in the aftermath of the Russian annexation of Crimea was to blow up the fucking, was to dam the waterways that were going in from Ukraine into Crimea. Okay? To completely shut them off from access to water, their natural water supply. Ukraine also was running with the mentality that Crimea was no longer a part of Ukraine when they did that. Okay? The fuck? Why is this racist pig Hasan still not banned? Because no matter how hard you cry, most normal people understand offering analysis and offering context to global affairs, even if you don't agree with it, is not a bannable offense. Okay? There's a difference between doing that and just being like, I love Russia. I think what Russia is doing is good. I don't. It's very obvious that I don't think what Russia is doing is good. It's very obvious that I don't think what Israel is doing is good either. Okay? You can't just, like, hope that other people also get fucking brain broken in the same way that you do. Okay? This is a clear example of extremism. They aren't even aware that America good is the pillar of their worldview and see any reason how anyone says otherwise a lunatic, but are arrogant enough to refuse to listen to reason. Yes. Okay? The question I always have for people is, like, what do you do in that situation? What have you done in this situation? What have you done to be like, okay, you know, what Israel is doing is unconscionable, it's genocide. It's Nazi shit. What have you done? Okay? I'm not going to sit around and be like, well, you know, all these other people, they're, I would have dealt with this differently. Like, how would you deal with it? And as far as, like, Hasan is pro-Ukrainian and Chinese invasions, like, conclusion very quickly. Okay? Don't let chat think that Willie Mac and his fans are spending any time thinking about any of these things that we're talking about. They simply do not care about this. I know, but this is important. Yes, I also did literally do a fundraiser for Ukraine as well in the immediate aftermath of Russia's unjustifiable and immoral Russia's unjustifiable and immoral invasion of Ukraine.
Argument. You notice that, right? He just shows you things and points at them.
By my estimations, I would of course apologize for it. I have time. Yeah, by the way, the Russian government legit called me a homosexual influencer, as opposed to the brilliant, brave Russian troops. So, you know, I don't think the Russian government considers me pro-Russia.